Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Good morning, Las Vegas. What's going on? Having a terrific time here, getting ready to do the Mark Hoke Show for you. Been up since, a lot of the night. I didn't sleep well yesterday. Not sure what was going on. I just was feeling a little off, but was enjoying some great pro wrestling. And wow, did all hell break loose last night. Good Lord. Between AAA and AEW Collision just last night. Wow. Titles changing hands all over the place. New champs. All sorts of great stuff. But speaking of great stuff, I got to bring in the guy who's going to be co-piloting in the ship with me today as I welcome in my good pal from Austin, Texas, who's actually going to be in town here for the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion event down at the Plaza next few days. Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Stu, how are you?
Man, I'm good. I actually slept pretty good. I'll have a night every now and again where I just, I'm tossing, turning all over. I think it has something to do with the age, but hey, but last night slept pretty good. Yeah. And last night, boy, it was, action packed in the wrestling world.
Yeah, it was something else. And we're going to break it all down for you. And, before we get too deep into everything, I do want to make sure that we'll talk a little bit more about him later in the show, but want to send our condolences to the Anoa'i family and friends as Wild Samoan Afa passed away. So both of the Wild Samoans within a couple of months have left our presence, and two incredible wrestlers. And we'll talk a little bit more about Afa later on, but I'm sure Roman Reigns and the family, man, that's got to be a little bit rough for them having to deal with that at the same time. I mean, they were both up in age. I mean, Afa was 81 years old, but I don't think they were ready for that. So we'll talk a little bit more about Afa and his career as we get through the show. And by the way, got to mention, sometime during this show, I'm not saying when, because, I got to keep this under wraps a little bit. We're going to be giving away tickets to WrestleConnects. That's going to be an exciting day over at the Tuscany Casino on September 13th, 10 to 5. And awesome guests are going to be there, like Greg Valentine, Ted DiBiase, Brian Cage is going to be there. It's a whole list of stars, and you're going to be able to pick up collectibles, get autographs. It is going to be amazing. So we're going to give away a 4-pack. That's right, 4 tickets to WrestleConnects. So brace yourselves, guys. And if you want to write the call-in number down, it's 702-257-5396, 702-257-5396. And when I give you the go, you can start blowing up the phone line, and somebody's going to get to go with a few friends to WrestleConnects. So pretty exciting stuff. All right. Last night, a lot to take in. I don't think I've ever led the show off with something that happened in AAA. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's obviously one of the two major promotions in Mexico, but this was a little different night last night. Of course, TripleMania 32. They do 3 different shows that consist of TripleMania, and the third one was yesterday. And Nick Nemeth loses his AAA Mega Championship to Alberto El Patron, and Nick brought Bradshaw along. Bradshaw Layfield came along and seconded him to the ring, which was kind of crazy. Matt Riddle won the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. I didn't know Matt qualified as a Cruiserweight, but Riddle is now got himself a title down there. And we have new tag team champions, Satnam, Singh, and Raj Dhesi. Of course, Dhesi was formerly known as Jinder Mahal. Got a little help from Jeff Jarrett, little kabonk on the melon in that triple threat match. But those guys are now the AAA tag team champions, and Satnam Singh showing up. So this was an interesting night, Stu. What were your thoughts when you saw all this come in?
It was an interesting night. You just mentioned the title changes there at TripleMania. Alberto El Patron, now the mega champion, which, I'm sure they'll have some fun with that. Interesting. He I don't know if he's blackballed in the United States, but there aren't too many promotions that will work with him because of things that happened back in the day. But nevertheless, congratulations, Alberto El Patron. Nick Nemeth, he's going to be busy defending that TNA world title. So, that's one less belt he has to carry on, put in his carry-on luggage when he flies. Interesting that JBL was there, John Bradshaw Layfield, who I've met a couple times. He actually worked. He would do color commentary for Abilene Christian University, which is his alma mater, for their football team.
Okay.
With a good friend of mine, Lincoln Rose, who is the radio voice for Austin FC of Major League Soccer. But they would do the football games. And so John and I, we talked a little bit about working with Lincoln and such, but yeah, good guy. But yeah, interesting. And then Satnam Singh, now one half of the AAA tag team champions with Raj Dhesi or Jinder Mahal, whatever you want to call him. I wonder if they will let Satnam Singh carry that title on AEW, because of the now AEW is in bed with CMLL.
Yeah, that is something I hadn't really thought of, but I'm intrigued by that team. I really am, because I think they've done a really nice job handling Satnam. Obviously a former NBA basketball player, but still, a really big guy, and those guys are tough to book. Especially someone as freakishly tall as he is. But, he had a fun moment. It's not my favorite spot, but he did a cross body block on four guys at once last night. I don't know if you saw that clip.
He can. I mean, that surprised me, as large as he is, sure.
And, obviously Raj Dhesi as well has been, making a lot of noise on the indie scene. I would like to see more of those guys. I'm curious. That one has me intrigued. It's not normal that I see a new team put together. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. But this one has me interested.
Yeah, this one, I think it could do good things. I gotta imagine that eventually Tony Khan might bring in Jinder just for the sake of, let's take a flyer on him, and then let's see Raj Dhesi and Satnam Singh in a tag match. Of course, they'll be backed up by Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and and Jeff Jarrett, no stranger to AAA. But yeah, I think that could be. I think that one could be fun to watch. You're right.
Yeah, so I'm curious. We'll see where all that goes, but I'm gonna have to keep a little more tight eye on AAA because of that. So. By the way, I don't know if you saw Jeff Jarrett was throwing tortillas out to the audience last night.
He's
after
done
they
that
won.
before, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Deal. When he goes AAA, he does that. He'll do that, because by the way, Jeff Jarrett. I mean, look, I've gotten to know him over the years, and one of the best guys out there. But on top of that, he is in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
For a man his age, and all the years in the ring, he is still putting out at a high level. Think about the match he had with Bryan Danielson, and just he is still really, really good. And I've always liked, I don't know, it's so funny. There is a segment of the wrestling fandom that can't stand Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people. I like Jeff. I think he's, like I said, he's good in the ring. He's fun on the mic. He surprised me back in February. AEW was here in the Austin area at the HEB Center, Cedar Park, and I was backstage talking to Dustin. He's there, Dustin and Ross and Marshall Von Erich and everything. And all of a sudden, here comes Jeff and Karen, and I hear, "Hey, Stu," and I look up. It was Jeff. And I said, "Hey, Jeff, how you doing, bud?" It was like, I was like, "Oh, okay." So he remembers, and I've had him on my show a couple times, and we've always had good chats. So I like Jeff Jarrett. I think he can still put on a really good match in the ring.
Yeah, I got to interview Jeff when they were here in Las Vegas a year ago, and boy, the guy is a very deep individual too, very philosophical. Does a lot of reading. I mean, he's a fascinating person, and when I got to meet him, it certainly changed my impression of him, because you hear all the stuff and the history of being different promotions and things maybe not going so well. But Jarrett is a very cool guy. So if you get a chance to talk to him at some point, everybody, take as much time as you can and enjoy it, because he's a cool dude. And that fountain of youth that Jarrett is drinking from must be the same one that your good friend Dustin Rhodes is drinking from, because last night on Collision, we got new Ring of Honor tag team champions. So Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevarra, who teamed up about a couple nights ago on the Ring of Honor, end up winning the ROH championships from the Undisputed Kingdom. So Dustin Rhodes, at 55 years old, is a double champion. And with Sammy Guevarra, who had that one on the bingo card?
Dustin Dose Belts, as I texted him right after the win. I said, "Congratulations, Dustin Dose Belts." Yeah, that was really cool. That was really fun, and to see both of them. And I've known Sammy since I've known Sammy almost 10 years. I've called several of his matches here in Austin when he wrestled for Inspire, the promotion I do commentary for. So Sammy is a good friend. Of course, Dustin, one of my dearest friends. To see those two win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles from Matt Taven and Mike Bennett. And look, I have all the respect in the world for Taven and Bennett. Taven is such a good guy. I've had Mike Bennett on the show, and they were phenomenal tag team champions. But to see Dustin and Sammy get the win, and you got kind of a little Texas brotherhood now, with Dustin being the 6-man champions with the Von Erichs, tag team champions with Sammy, who's a Houston native. Man, Lone Star State representing well in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt that everybody was down there for a month at that residency.
Absolutely.
Down there too. So you get the Texas flavor in Arlington, and it tasted like sweet barbecue. But it was funny though that when I was watching on X a little bit, there was a little bit of a negative reaction from some people. I mean, not a ton, but there were some people saying, "Why would you put this team on top with all the other tag teams they have in Ring of Honor?" I didn't have a problem with it. I think it's fine. You needed to get Sammy back out there and get a positive spin on him with everything that's been going on. And, sitting there, they did a great piece after the match. I don't know if you saw that or not, but about a 4.5-minute video with Sammy and Dustin. And I think that helps Sammy out too, because of, impressions that he's given about his personality and some things that have happened. So I think this is good for Sammy. Now, how long this is going to last, I don't know. And I don't know if it really matters. I mean, they could lose the belts at All In or All Out, just like that. But this is great for Dustin, and I think it's good for Sammy too. I think everybody's just got to be patient and see what they're going to do with this, because this could help one of those teams if they get a win over Dustin and Sammy. I mean, that's a good win on Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think Sammy, if you listen to the talk around the campfire and everything, there has been talk that Sammy kind of wants to rehab his image. He's been a heel pretty much his entire existence in AEW Ring of Honor. So this little hiatus that he has been on, I may be remembering it wrong or something, but there was some talk about he wanted to turn babyface and he wanted to have a bit of a run as a babyface. He's been heel, going back to his indie days. And so, yeah, I think this is kind of a process to get Sammy back into the limelight, shall we say, for the Tony Khan Wrestleverse, if you want to call it that. And then, yeah, to be teamed up with, a legend like Dustin, that can only help him. And yeah, if they hold the titles, I suspect they'll probably hold the titles. They'll definitely hold them through All Out in Chicago. I would think possibly Final Battle coming up in December, wherever Final Battle is going to be. That could be the time where I could see a title change. And maybe they put them back around Taven and Bennett. I don't know. But there are so many other tag teams, which that's kind of one of the blessings with AEW and Ring of Honor. They have just a plethora of tag teams that they can put up against Dustin and Sammy and, have some fantastic matches, whether it's the Infantry, whether it's Dark Order, whether it, again, Taven and Bennett, or it's, you just name your favorite duo, and they're going to have some good matches.
How about the Outrunners? Give me the Outrunners. I love those guys.
That might be a popular vote there. Give the Ring of Honor tag titles to the Outrunners, and they're fun.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
that could be a fun match.
Those guys, if you haven't seen the Outrunners, by the way, they are doing 80s style promos, and they are just hilarious. I mean, it's shot like an early 80s promo. Everything they do, they are something else. So, I wouldn't mind seeing more of the Outrunners. But, yeah, it was certainly an interesting night on a couple of fronts. A lot of title switching and a lot to keep an eye on as we move forward. Yeah. And now I do want to mention before we hit the break, don't forget, we are going to be giving away those Wrestle Connects tickets. We also have a great sponsor or affiliate that I work with, betonline.ag, and we're going to talk about some of the betting odds coming up for All In when we preview that. But, guys, you can bet on wrestling. It's so cool. Go to betonline. Actually, I want you to go to my site, markhokeshow.com, so you can click on the link and take you over there. And still, I'm going to hand everybody $500. You can get a matching bonus up to $500. 50% matching bonus up to $1,000. So you can get $500, and you can bet on, it's obviously got all the great sports on there, but there's even politics, celebrity stuff. I mean, there's some crazy betting opportunities on there. So go check it out. Go to markhokeshow.com, click on that betonline.ag banner, and sign up today. Just drop a few bucks in and have some fun.
Football's about to hit.
Football
in a couple of weeks. NFL a week or two after that. Time to get it.
Yep.
And by the way, my Longhorns. Man, so ready for them to hit the field.
Yeah, they're going to be something else. Yeah, we got to get you on SportsX Radio if you have a night free to come out, and we'll talk a little Longhorn football. All right, guys, let's take a break, and when we come back, we mentioned TNA Emergence is coming up. There's going to be some great matches on that as part of this unbelievable week of pro wrestling we're going to be having, and so much more. So stick around, everybody, here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. We'll see you on the other side of the break with Stu Myrick.
Looking for high-quality custom screen printing in Las Vegas? Look no further than Off Grid Creations. Need a few custom t-shirts for a local event, band merchandise, or family reunion? We've got you covered. Large order of uniforms for your staff, sports team, or club? We can handle that too. Our experienced team will work closely with you throughout the entire process from design consultation to final product. Call us at 661-300-1115. That's 661-300-1115. Or visit our website at off-gridcreations.com. Get a free consultation today.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's keep the wrestling chatter going on here. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Mark Hoke Show here on 101.5 FM, KDAWN, the Talk of Las Vegas, also streaming on that worldwide Odyssey app. And we are also live streaming. So if you're out there listening on the radio and you want to interact with the show, you're already in here. Hey, start typing some messages like I just busted on one of our PSAs in the chat box. Timmy! But anyway, we love to get your questions, and it's always fun to hear your comments. So, let us know what you think. We would certainly appreciate it. All right. We head into, as we continue that big weekend. Now, of course, we got All In coming up here next Sunday. And then Friday night is TNA Emergence. I'm kind of pumped up about this. Now, TNA is just coming off a really successful Slammiversary pay-per-view. Their buys on this, Stu. This was incredible. Stu Myrick, by the way, sports guys talking wrestling with me. Up 114% from Rebellion. They did, let's see, I'm trying to find the number there. That number doesn't match up. But they did well. And, of course, they had about 4,000 people at the show in Montreal. So a lot of money coming in for TNA. And now they get to head into Emergence, which I think is going to be a very intriguing card, especially with the top of it. Nick Nemeth is going to be defending in an Iron Man match against Josh Alexander. Oh, man, that is going to be 60 minutes of fun. What do you think, Stu? A lot of good stuff going TNA.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've seen Josh Alexander. He was a fantastic TNA World Champion. He's, of course, now with the attitude change, now he's going to challenge Nick Nemeth in a 60-minute Iron Man match. That's one that's not for the weak. And, I don't think Nick will lose the title, but it's going to be close, and he is going to be challenged big time. We know Josh Alexander can go 60 minutes and then some. So, but Friday night 31st or the 30th rather. That's going to be a big event there in Louisville, Kentucky. I just did an interview on Friday with Matt Cardona, who
nice.
He's going to be part of that card. He's got this thing with PCO because PCO's marrying Matt's, what do we call her? His sidekick. I guess. I don't want to call her. I'm not
calling her a side chick. I don't want Chelsea coming after me.
She's bigger than Matt.
She's
in F. DeLander.
She's a very powerful woman.
Well, apparently Matt Cardona has a problem with this, and he's as I told him during the interview, kind of poking the bear there, messing with PCO, the monster. So, we'll see. We'll see if that makes it onto the Emergence card. But yeah, TNA Wrestling. Look, they have for the last couple of years, actually, they have put on some really good shows, and they put on some really good wrestling. Whether it's on Impact on Thursday nights on Access TV, or their specials on TNA Plus, or the pay-per-views, or whatever, they come out with some really good cards, and it's one of those things that I hope wrestling fans notice, because there was a time when TNA, they've gone through, if a cat has 9 lives, TNA went through about 7 of them.
Yeah.
But they are on a roll right now, and they've got some just solid wrestling, got some great stars in their locker room, and TNA definitely a promotion to keep your eye on.
And by the way, we're going to be interviewing Hammerstone this week, so he'll be on the show with us next Sunday. So we'll get to hear from one of Las Vegas's favorite guys. Of course, he was the FSW champion here for a very long time. And I'm looking forward to talking to Alex, because what a road that he went on to finally get signed by a major company. So pretty excited to have Hammerstone coming on the show. And he's going to be part of that X Division match, which is going to be an Ultimate X match against Speedball Mike Bailey, Zach Wentz, Riley Osborne, Jason Hutch, and the Laredo Kid. I think Hammerstone should just eat all of them. That's what I would do. Get some protein.
Yeah, but you got a lot of talent. Riley Osborne from NXT, from Chase U, part of that match. Of course, Zachary Wentz, part of, I don't know. I guess they're still the Rascals, with everything that Wes Lee did, turned it on Zach and Trey Miguel, which broke my heart. I love the Rascals' death. I introduced him to Whataburger. So,
nice.
That was a lot of fun. But yeah, Ultimate X is always an entertaining match. Hammerstone, of course, former MLW world champion. In fact, he was the one, he lost it to Jacob Fatu, who is now part of the Bloodline. That Ultimate X match, those are always entertaining. There's always one of those, there's always at least a couple of moments where you're just like, wow. So looking forward to seeing that on the 30th at Emergence.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a fun card. And, of course, we're on the Mark Hoke Show here with Stu Myrick, and I'm Mark Hoke. Thanks for joining us today here on KDAWN. And another Vegas guy, Chris Bay, teaming up with East Austin. They're going to get AJ Francis and Rich Swann. And, boy, AJ's just been doing some great work. He has been phenomenal. I don't know how this guy escaped WWE. I don't know if it's just because they stuck him in a big group or what happened, but he has been terrific. And he's fun on social media, too, if you don't follow him. So that match, from right now, we got a 6-woman match with Jordan Grayson Spitfire against Ash by Elegance and the Militia, which, of course, is Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich. So that should be a lot of fun, and that's just part of the card. The one guy I thought was interesting, that Mustafa Ali actually left TNA, and I believe he was actually on, I think, a match-to-match contract or something like that. But I'm a little surprised that he's gone. Of course, he just lost that title, the X title, to Mike Bailey. But he's not back, and I'm wondering, where does he land? Because, man, it's a tough for him. I think it's a tough decision.
Well, I know he's slated to be on New Japan's Capital Collision card in Washington, D.C., and I forget who's. Oh, he's taking on Hiromu Takahashi at that card. And so I know he's still working with New Japan. Where does he go? I mean, does he stay with New Japan? Does he sign on with another American promotion? Is it AEW? Is it MLW? Is it the NWA? That's a good question. And Ali is one of those guys that I think there is still, as crazy as it sounds, I think there still might be a little bit of stuck to him from his days in WWE, especially when he was trying to lead that faction Retribution.
Ugh.
Which that might have been that. I mean, I try not to be one of those, instant whatever, but that might have been one of the worst factions ever in WWE.
So badly handled. You could tell. You could tell that faction was made by some 22-year-old intern kid who was a far left leaning guy who was like, "Oh yeah, man, we're gonna make an Antifa like faction in WWE." Because of the stuff that had been going on at the time, too. And it was just stupid. And a lot of people like Dijak, Misha. I mean, it was a disaster. So I hope if he does decide to go back to WWE, it'd be very interesting. But, man, it'll be tough for him to fight his way back up the roster. Despite, what he did in TNA was terrific. So I'm going to be very curious to see what happens to that man coming up.
Yeah, I'm with you.
By the way, also and I want to make sure I got to mention this too. We have a new G1 champion. Mm-hmm. Zack Sabre Jr. wins the G1 Climax this year. He is only the 4th non-Japanese wrestler to win it. Stu, can you name the other 3? Just for fun, play a little trivia game with you.
Let's see. I know Kenny Omega won it. Let's see. Will Ospreay.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
It's not one.
You got to go way back. It's stunning who actually won this.
Not MVP.
Nope.
Okay. I know MVP was in New Japan for a bit.
Much larger guys than that.
Oh, Vader.
Nope.
No.
I'll give you one last chance, and I'm going to tell everybody.
I give up. I just, outside of Kenny Omega, I don't know. Who's the other two?
Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Yes.
Okay.
Isn't that incredible?
All right, sure.
Yeah, so only 4 Americans have won that, or 4 non-Japanese wrestlers have won that. But, it really does say a lot about Zack Sabre Jr. For him winning this thing and getting that opportunity. So, I love Zack. He might be the best wrestler in the world that is outside of WWE and AEW. I think that's a very fair statement.
He is in that conversation, that's for sure. I'll be interested to see, because you got Zack Sabre Jr. winning the G1, so he's got the title shot at Wrestle Kingdom. Now we know how they go. Sometimes it's August 18th. Wrestle Kingdom is January 4th, so you got September, October, November, so about 4.5 months between now and Wrestle Kingdom in Tokyo Dome. There's going to be somebody that decides they want to contest Zack for that G1 title shot. We'll see if he keeps it. But yeah, if things stand the way they are now, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, that could be interesting. Now, and I discussed with Mike Sempervive from Wrestling Observer, who is one of the best, well versed in all things, pretty much all of Japanese wrestling, definitely New Japan. And Naito, he's in that older group, shall we say. Can he still go like he used to? That's going to be a big question. I think that with Zack Sabre Jr., they can put together a really good match, and I hope they do. Does it end up with Zack Sabre Jr. winning the title? We'll see on January 4th.
Yeah, I honestly, I'd be thrilled to see it happen. And it's nothing against Naito, but that match he had with Moxley at Forbidden Door just wasn't quite there. So, but you know what? Naito's pretty darn good still. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so that just added to that crazy night that we had over the last night there. That just happened, I believe, early this morning. So more wild stuff. And speaking of that, we're going to head to break here. But before we do, I got to mention that our good friends at the TravelShark.com, Stu, you should have signed up, because I could have got you a super cheap hotel room. So everybody that goes out there does traveling. I mean, if you're a wrestler or, employee of a wrestling company, or, just somebody that likes to get around every once in a while and go places, I got a great site for you. Go to the TravelShark.com/Hoke Show. It's also up on the website, but TravelShark.com/Hoke Show. They work with Priceline. They get you all those hidden rates that you got to screw around with. You got them right there. And I'm telling you, there's some amazing deals on there. I definitely be using the Travel Shark, and you should too. So please check that out. I would appreciate it. Okay. And when we come back, oh man, are we ready for NXT on the CW? The landscape of WWE television changing rapidly here, and that's one of them. We're only a couple weeks out on that. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas.
.101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
And we are back on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. Now, I'm just trying to do too much there on a break, but that's okay. Now, Stu, I decided to have a can of Coke. Not cocaine, of course, just, Coca-Cola. And
it's Las Vegas, so, hey.
Trying to pep up a little bit. No, I actually watched Blue Mountain State, the Thadland special that they did. I don't know if you've ever seen Blue Mountain State, but hilarious.
I think I remember the title, but yeah, I probably didn't see it.
Oh, you got to watch it. College football and insanity, and trust me, there were enough drugs and craziness on that show. So no, I'm sticking with Coca-Cola.
Kind of like Miami in the early 90s.
Oh, this was worse, but yeah, something like that. Something like that. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, go back and watch Blue Mountain State. It's football season.
Yes, I'm still bitter at Miami, thrashing Texas in the Cotton Bowl back then.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Sorry. You okay?
Yeah.
You going to be all right? Okay, just making sure.
30 years. Yeah, that's good.
Hey, I'm still not over the Orioles losing to the Pirates in '79, so.
There you go.
Yeah, that one sucked too.
By the way, we were talking earlier about Dustin. Dustin had a fantastic night at Collision. Not only did he win the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, his nephews had a dark match. Wayne and Wyatt Rhodes, the new Texas Outlaws, who I got to call their first match at the Rhodes Wrestling Academy showcase. They had a dark match last night against John Cruz and Aaron Solo. So congrats to Wayne and Wyatt, the nephews of Dustin. It's Dustin's sister, Kristen, a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's her sons. And I've got an interview with them from a few weeks ago. Just, look, if you go to Sports Guys Talking Wrestling on whatever podcast provider, you can search Texas Outlaws and you'll see the interview.
Maybe somebody turns heel between them and the Von Erichs. We get an interesting little fight there.
No, we can't do that.
No? All right.
No. Well, Wayne and Wyatt are still very new to wrestling.
Yeah.
So we still got to get them some seasoning.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see them down the road, though.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
Congrats making their AEW debut up in Arlington.
Yeah. Also, by the way, making a showing on AEW last night was one of your guys down there that inspired Danny O'Ryan. He was the guy
boy himself.
He was the guy that got beat up by Jack Perry last night, bagged and tagged. And by the way, very interesting ring introduction talking about the Dallas singles dating site. Stu, do you have any insight on why he did that?
I have no idea. So Danny O'Ryan is a regular on the Texas independent scene. He's the current Pure Prestige champion in Inspire After Death. That's the same title that Ricky Starks held and Keith Lee held and Sammy Guevarra. MJF held that title as well. He's also, I think he's one half of the New Texas Pro Wrestling Tag Team Champions. So he is definitely a regular on the Texas independent scene. So good on Danny to get the spotlight a little bit. By the way, what did you think of that TNT title that Jack Perry debuted?
Wasn't thrilled about it. It's a little dark.
I'm trying to figure out what he was trying to do. Because that thing it looks a little like, heaven forbid, it reminded me of that Fiend world title that Bray Wyatt had.
Yeah.
And I wasn't crazy about that. This one it looked like, it kind of remember I don't know if you remember the story about Stan Hansen was ordered to send back the AWA world title.
Oh, yeah.
So he ran it over with his pickup truck.
Yep.
It looked a little like that.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. But my good friend, Doc Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report in the summary said it looked like something from Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So he was not impressed. So,
no.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I like a bright, shiny belt.
I don't know what Jack Perry's trying to get across with that belt. Whatever it was, it didn't work.
Well, sadness and bitterness, I suppose. It's
all right.
Sure. Only explanation I got. I'm trying to help, Jack. I'm really trying to help. So now, also coming up here very shortly, and we mentioned this going into the break. There's going to be a lot of changes to WWE TV over the next few months. Coming up September 1st, if you're an NXT fan, that is going over to the CW, and we'll talk a little bit more about some comments Shawn Michaels made about that. But then we've also got SmackDown going to USA. That starts on the 13th of September, so be ready for that. So it's all Fox going to USA. And then in January, the one that I'm still not thrilled about it, but I get it, is Raw is heading to Netflix. So start marking your calendars if you're a WWE fan, because these changes are coming quick. And apparently Shawn Michaels is going to pull out all the stops for this episode of NXT debuting on the CW. CM Punk's going to be there, but not saying much else than that in an interview with WGN. Are you feeling this move? I mean, you liking this going to CW?
It's intriguing. CW is trying to, they're trying to bolster their sports, landscape. They've got ACC football. They got Live Golf. They're going to have the NASCAR Xfinity Series debut on the CW, which it's on FS1, I think, right now. So they're trying to up their sports game a bit. Now they of course they had NWA on, I guess it's on the CW app. So now they're going to have NXT on CW. I'll be interested to see what the presentation, how it changes going from USA to CW, because CW is a broadcast channel. It's not a cable channel. Here in Austin, it's KNVA is the affiliate here in Austin, and so I'll be interested to see how the presentation changes, if any. You mentioned the thing, they've got CM Punk debuting when CW goes. I think NXT is supposed to hit Chicago on, I want to say, October 1st, and that's supposed to be this. That's where CM Punk's supposed to appear, and then the next week they're in St. Louis, and Randy Orton's going to appear. And I mean, look, we know NXT. They like to bring in the main roster stars, especially if they want to pop a big rating. We'll see what they do. I like the NXT. I like NXT. The stories are fun. It's a little bit of a mix from, your straight wrestling and full on sports entertainment. It tries to, go down the middle. So I'm intrigued. The other changes, I mean, SmackDown going to USA, it feels like that should have been. I don't think they're going to change much. Raw to Netflix in January. Oh. That's going to be the big one.
Yeah.
And we saw they had Fanatics Fest up in New York, and there was a big banner touting that. I'll be interested to see, because even Triple H has mentioned about having to bleep out or cut audio or video whenever something that's not, that they can't airs or happens. Well, they don't have to worry about that on Netflix.
Nope.
And oh, by the way, if they find success with that, could you see SmackDown go to Netflix the next time?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me in the least. And personally, I don't have a Netflix. Just reasons.
I don't either.
But I guess I'm going to be having to get one. So many streaming networks. That's the thing that drives me crazy. It's just like they're everywhere, and it's like here's your Peacock, here's your Netflix, here's this, here's that. HBO. Unfortunately, at least with my current cable package, I get HBO Max, so I've got that covered when Tony finally signs that deal. But that will be intriguing. I'm sure they're going to be skewing it towards a little younger crowd. So I would imagine that the demographic, the way the show is going to be done, might change a little, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Hey, that's hour number one. What the heck, Stu? Stu Myrick from Sports Guys Talking Wrestling. Man, we just flew right through that. Oh, now we got to
get. Time goes fast when you're having fun.
Yes, sir. And now it's time to get ready to talk about All In and what's coming. We got any big surprises? Should be an amazing day in Wembley. And, of course, I want to remind everybody to please go to markhokeshow.com. You can check out everything we've got going on with our sponsors, the show. We've got some of our recent interviews up there now. Great site to check out. Take a look, please. And support those sponsors that are backing the show. Stick around, everybody. We got a whole lot more. And don't forget, we got Wrestle Connects tickets. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.